What's up, everybody? Welcome into a non-excited version of SSPN. Um, I think that's probably like the least hype intro I've ever had, Ethan. And I don't even know what to say, dude. That was just awful. Here, let me look before we even get into anything. This will be a little bit funny. Let's address this. Sorry about the way the episode ended last time, and that we had like 5 minutes of black screen on there. Yeah, my computer was completely glitching out, y'all. I wish I could take a video of it, like I had one, and like maybe play it on the stream when I got back, but I wasn't gonna like put my phone up, like when we were doing it. But it's kind of fitting, Ethan, because the way that the stream ended last night, we weren't able to finish the way that we wanted to. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And neither could the Spurs in the Raptors game. And they couldn't start or finish tonight in Indiana in what was a complete domination, reminiscent of the Clippers game, another 40, this time a 41-point loss. And we were talking about it beforehand. I asked you, which game was worse. And, you unanimously said this one, and I agreed. And that's just because we saw the same mistakes we saw in the second half all game tonight, Ethan.
Yeah, it was.
That Raptors game, I mean, to specify.
Yeah, you would think that coming out of a game in the way that we lost against the Raptors, where we lost all momentum and our energy was low, we made a lot of silly mistakes, that they would at least come out firing with higher energy in the first quarter. That wasn't the case. Defensively, we continue to struggle defending pick and roll, especially against very talented point guards like Tyrese Halliburton, and he pretty much did whatever he wanted to. Jude, he only had 20 points, but he had 10 of those points in the first quarter alone, 3 for 6 with 6 assists. And it just wasn't him. The Pacers, give them credit. They were really torching us from all angles, and they were shooting lights out. And so if you can space the floor,
64% from three in the first half. Sorry to interrupt you.
yeah, 60% to end the game. So the
Didn't
Pacers,
even cool off.
they watched the tape, Jude. If you can play solid pick and roll against the Spurs and space the floor, you're going to win because we're just not making the smart defensive rotations. Guys are lost. We're double teaming in weird spots, like you said. We're blitzing in weird spots. We're just lacking all kinds of chemistry, and that comment's a great point. Maybe a lot of
Yeah.
it is Devin Vassell because he certainly fixes a lot of these problems, but at the same time, that's one player. The rest of the team is still here. You would think we would have some level of continuity, but that wasn't the case. And offensively, Wemby had 9 shots. The only person that shot more than him was Keldon with 10. Keldon had kind of a solid game scoring the ball, but
He at
really,
least cared at
yeah,
the.
he tried. He made an effort. He attacked the rim. That was really the only positive is we attacked
Yeah.
the rim. We got their bigs in foul trouble, but it really didn't matter. And we were talking about what was worse, this game or the Clippers game. In this Clippers game, at least we had a couple moments where it felt like maybe we had a chance, like to make a run. In this game, there was no point at all where it felt like we were about to make a run, and it was really bad when Matt Bonner was like, we cut it to 21. Like, that's pretty good. And I was like, ooh, like, that was the highlight of the game when we cut the lead down to
Right.
21. Like, that's pretty pitiful basketball.
Yeah. I guess the other thing I'll say, and this is not an excuse whatsoever, and I think you've probably already gotten that if you've been watching the 4 minutes of the stream, that we're not making any excuses. But
Mm-hmm.
it is the seventh game of the season, so that is something we can remember. But that's
True.
really the only thing other than with Devin being out. I want to address that too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't think that's the reason we lost tonight whatsoever. I think if he plays and we put on this same performance, just like the Clippers game when he did play, we get blown out by 40.
Yep.
But what I will say is the miscommunications and the defensive issues, I think, did stem from him being out.
Mm-hmm.
And it is kind of tough that right when we kind of got our rhythm going in those two Phoenix games, we lost him, and then we've kind of seen this. But at the same time, you have that Raptors first half. So that we can play the right way with this lineup. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And so that's where it's not an excuse. But at the same time, when I look at, and God bless Doug, but like sometimes when I'm seeing him get beat in rotations, he's not getting as many minutes if Devin's playing. You know what I'm saying? And there were
Yep.
a lot of times Malachi's getting beat too. he's going up against second stringers.
Hmm.
If Devin's playing.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the most frustrating thing you touched on just now, Jude, is that what are you laughing at? The rain
Look at
comment?
no, this one.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's absolute facts, film room.
He's being positive, and we gotta applaud that.
Hmm.
What you said earlier in that little diatribe you went on there, which was we know we're capable of playing well. We've seen it against Phoenix twice. We saw it in that first half against the Raptors. I guess it just comes right back down to that age thing and that immaturity and lack of mental toughness, Jude. Like the first quarter was 28-44, second quarter 33-42. You would
No
think,
response.
yeah, you would think there would be some kind of run there, but absolutely none. And it comes back to that point that Pop touched on, and we continue to emphasize. And it's when your points of emphasis aren't going well, a disconnect is likely to occur, especially with a young team. Tonight felt like one gigantic um, disconnect, pretty much right off the bat.
Yeah, we're definitely we weren't connected whatsoever tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we talked about kind of that term and ball speed. I don't think necessarily ball speed was the issue tonight. We were just overall completely um, discombobulated, not like we said, not connected, not in rhythm,
Mm-hmm.
not. I mean, just I don't even know what to describe because a lot of the stuff was the same as what we talked about last night for 25 minutes, Ethan.
Yeah, it was. There's one point that I do want to talk about, and blah 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 kind of alluded to it there with his comment. Um, Vic's shot selection. I want to get him as many shots as we possibly can. I still think we need to feed him the ball more. At times, we're really missing opportunities to get him down low. But at the same time, he's dribbling too much for my liking, Jude. And I know that's what makes him so unique at 7'4" is he has that incredible handle. But when he gets the ball kind of in the mid post or even the low block, he takes like a minimum of 4 dribbles. And when you're getting defended by guys that are 6'6", 6'7", sure you have the height advantage, but if you're dribbling that much, they're gonna pick it away from you because they have the lower center of gravity. And a lot of times that's what's happening. And he's getting bailed out sometimes because of just like getting the foul call because of his 8 foot wingspan. They're just slapping him on the wrist every once in a while. But I would much prefer him just go straight up, when he gets the ball, even if he is 15 feet away from the basket, shoot. Like they're not going to block your
He's gonna
shot.
shoot over
Yeah,
everybody.
catch it, turn, shoot. Catch it, turn, hook. Like how many times did Tim Duncan dribble the ball when he hit those
Yeah,
20 foot bank shots? He
right.
didn't. He faced up, jab, jab, pull. Like, and Timmy was only 6'11", 7 feet. He's 7'4". So I know that's what makes him special, but I still I would prefer him to tone that back at least for now.
Yeah, I get. Speaking of Victor Wembanyama, he's in the comments right now, and he says the reason that he can't shoot is
Mm,
because he feels like he has to force things right now because he isn't getting enough touches, and I do think that
that's
does have
part of it.
something to do with
Part of
it,
it.
for sure. But at the same time, I get what you're saying in the sense that like I remember a post up during this game where we got it to him in the post, and it was just like you said, like 4 or 5 dribbles immediately, trying to get around him. Let me try to back him down or whatever. And I don't even know who he's matched up against. It might have been, it had to be some combination of, it was some big, it was Miles Turner or Isaiah Jackson and as much as like, we flaunted over Wemby and he's so immensely talented, all that stuff, right? Like as of right now in this season, he's not really going to be backing some dudes down like that. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
there's no reason for him to do that, which I think just ties into what you were saying in the sense that what he can do is shoot over them right now and beat
Mhm.
them in that sense. But I will say I think he's just trying to, get as close to the basket and
Mm-hmm. It goes back to
everything
that
like
disconnect
that.
thing you were saying, and you're right. It's the touches. Victor Wembanyama makes a great point because I was texting you. There was a point where he did post up and he had good positioning, but Jeremy also posted up just a little bit higher, and I can't remember who the ball handler was, but he waved off Wemby to go across the court to weak side, and I was like, and he fed Jeremy for the post up, and Jeremy took like a 10 foot
He
fadeaway
took
and
it
missed.
away.
And I was like, why on earth? Like, I love Jeremy Sohan, but No, no, you wave off Jeremy and you feed Victor Wembanyama in the block. Like if you're trying to score and you're down by 30, that's the move. It's not let Jeremy go one-on-one.
Yeah, dude, the other thing about that possession that annoyed me, that was actually before you even texted me about it during the game, that was one that I was just like, and I didn't even realize that they waved off Wemby. That would have frustrated me more. But when I was watching it, I was like, okay, so Hand's got a post up with RJ Nemhard, I'm pretty sure. I'm like, this is a good situation. Let's back him down and try to get a shot at the basket. But instead, we're going to shoot a post fadeaway. Like, I'm like, Jeremy, you have a 5-inch and like probably 20-pound, advantage on this guy. And he's been doing that kind of all year. And
Yeah.
like I said, there's a lot of things I like about Jeremy, but um, when he tries to force things, and this goes with his point guard play as well, and his shoot, just his offensive play, whether he's playmaking or shooting, when he tries to force things, it's just, turnovers or missed shots happen. And we've seen when he doesn't do that, and we're in a free-flowing offense, and, in the two Phoenix games, really. And obviously there were struggles in the first one, so it was more the second. We've seen some good things there. But yeah, when he's forcing things and you don't have Devin Vassell out there, and then we're not rotating on defense, it's not a very good recipe.
Is it just me, Jude, or is Jeremy playing a little less aggressively this year? I know, like, not in the sense that, like, yes, he is forcing too many offensive possessions, but like last year, it felt like when he was driving to the rim or he had a post up, it was more physical. It was let me finish with a dunk, let me get a hook shot. And this year, it feels a lot more like finesse. And he's missed a couple bunny layups where I like in my
Yeah,
mind, I'm like, turn it over and slam it. Like he's not finishing with enough aggressiveness for my liking.
I completely agree. I don't like this isn't an excuse, but it's more of an explainer, I guess you
Mhm.
could say. Is
Please.
he's I think he's just hesitating overall in
Yeah.
playing point guard for the first time in
Mm,
the NBA.
for sure. And unfortunately, that's just going to be something we live with and until he
I
either
understand
gets
people
used
who
to
are
it.
frustrated with it. Sorry,
Yeah.
I interrupted you.
No, you're good. I was saying we have to like live with it until he gets used to it, until he gets comfortable, or Pop's going to have to say this is the end of the experiment. Um, but I'm not so certain that moving him away from point guard to like forward fixes that hesitancy necessarily. It might make him a little more comfortable, but I don't know if he becomes any more aggressive, at least initially. So
Yeah, we'll have to see with that. The thing is that Pop has like stated that it's for the whole year. So
that's true.
I mean, and things can change, but I feel like if he's saying that, as the whole reason we came up with in the summer when we kind of said that this could happen was because of stuff that Pop had been saying, and that
Hmm.
is what has ensued. So like I said, I don't really anticipate any changes, but I think if we continue to have these struggles, it might have to,
Mm.
you might
Yeah.
have to see some changes. But I mean, that would be like very far into the season. You know what I'm saying? But I think, like I said, I think he's just hesitating.
Yeah, it's a fair assumption.
But
And
the
you
other thing I want to talk about, sorry to,
no,
to
you're good.
interrupt.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Like the other thing I want to talk about there, and I understand, like we've said this before too, like Trey is a more natural point guard than him. Obviously, he's played it longer. He played at Duke, et cetera, et cetera. But dude, we saw Trey get cooked tonight again. I
Mm.
mean, God bless him.
It's
Like
a rough game.
like I just, and that might be maybe in the draft next year or down the line making a move for somebody else. I don't know, or maybe somebody can develop into that role better. But I mean, I'm not sure. Like he's gonna like you saw Trey like yes, Sohan got cooked by Halliburton, but so did Trey. I mean, like it's not gonna be, especially against some of these big point guards as we've talked about. I just don't feel like that fixes all of the issues. And like you said, I don't. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it would be better for. I mean, we're saying this, and it's the seventh game of the season, so
Yeah,
we're
very
gonna
true.
keep waiting. But as of right now, when we're watching these type of games, it's definitely making me think about it. More than 3 games ago.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Man, trade 6 first for Tyrese Halliburton. Somebody
Right.
was saying that last night too, and so they were like kind of arguing with somebody, and they were like, "How do they say no?" I'm like, "Because this isn't 2K. Tyrese Halliburton's an all-star point guard, and the Pacers are building around him. They'll never accept a trade for Tyrese like that."
Yeah. July 26th says Jeremy at PG is temporary till we can draft a good one within these next years. I mean, I could definitely see that. But the thing, when we're talking about that, and like you said, maybe he might, if this continues very long into the season, like you mentioned, maybe we might have to call off the experiment or whatever. Like I really think they're going to run with this the whole year.
They
And the
probably
thing
will.
is, and the other thing is, as we've mentioned before, like we're not winning the championship year this year anyway.
Mm-mm.
So I don't really think Pop cares that much. He's just like, this is it. To him, this probably isn't that surprising, to be honest. But
Yep.
because you bring in Victor Wembanyama and all of the media circus hype behind it, I mean, that's just put and reasonably, I was going to say that's just put our expectations through the roof,
Mm-hmm.
and as it should, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying. But at the same time, Pop doesn't care about none of that. You know
No,
what
he
I
doesn't.
mean? And I'm not saying that. And when I say that, I'm not saying that that's the right decision to lead us to more wins. But they're just thinking so future sighted with this team, man.
Yeah, yeah, they definitely are. Valid points. And one last thing I wanted to say about like the team offensive struggles, and it doesn't necessarily point to Trey, it doesn't point to Jeremy, it points to literally everybody that played tonight. And that's when we're running our offense. I was watching throwback 2014, 2015, 2016 Spurs, and it's basically the same offense if you want to go back and look at it. The difference is those guys with Boris Diaw, Timmy, Tony, Manu, they were making plays and they were making decisions to pass the ball with a purpose. There was a purpose behind
Yeah.
every decision that they made. And our guys, it almost feels like we're going through the motion of I have to pass this because that's the game plan. Pop told me to pass this in practice, so I'm going to pass this. Or suddenly I'm
Regardless
going
of if there's hands in passing lanes or somebody
to.
coming exactly. Yeah, it's predetermined.
It's predetermined. And then sometimes it feels like they're just like, you know what? I don't want to hand this one off. I'm gonna lift it up and pass it to the next guy. And I'm like, why on earth? Like there's no IQ in these decisions. It's just going through the motions.
Yeah, or sometimes we'll just decide to go take a shot.
Yeah.
Like we'll just ditch everything and go take a shot. And sometimes it leads to a wide open layup, but sometimes it leads to bad shots at the rim.
Mhm. There were very few possessions back then, 14, 15, 16, that ended with a bad shot. So we
Yeah.
know the offense works. A lot of our possessions are ending with contested jumpers or a forced isolation on the wing, where we get blocked at the rim or something that doesn't look pretty.
Yeah. We've been talking this whole time, Ethan, and obviously this was a not good performance by the Spurs, but I do want to say that this was a crazy performance at the same time by
Hmm.
the Pacers. Like I do
So
like a lot
true.
of tonight did have to do with the Pacers just going absolutely insane. And
Mm,
it is kind of funny as much as the Cavs are going through their injuries right now, that's still they still have D Mitch, they still have Mobley. They beat them in the in-season tournament game this past Friday.
hmm
So, and they beat them earlier in the season too. And that's one example of kind of I think the Cavs are struggling right now, but still, I think that this. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. With the point is, there's a lot of. I mean, we have a lot of young talent too, but they got a lot of young talent
Yeah, they
and
do.
a lot of better shooters than us right now. I would say.
I
And Rick
think they're
Carlisle's doing a good job with them also. I just want to give them some credit.
yeah, for
Obviously,
sure.
there's a lot of stuff that we did bad tonight, but like they they played out of their mind. They shot crazy. We got to acknowledge that too.
Yeah, they have a lot of length, a lot of youth, a lot of a lot of shooters. I'm high on the Pacers. I hope that they end up playing well. And if they can keep this like unit together for the next couple of years, they could be dangerous. Because right now it's really like Tyrese and Turner are like Tyrese is an all-star, but they don't really have another all-star, but they have some budding young talent. And then Jarris Walker, the lottery pick, who didn't even
Yeah,
play
he didn't
until
even play.
crunched until like the very end of the game. They could be dangerous. So shout out to them for sure.
Well, the last thing we can kind of talk about on this game before we wrap this thing up, Ethan, is just when it comes to Wembenyama, and I see we just got a comment in here. I haven't even read it all, but it's just kind of funny that we got one right as I was
Hmm.
about to talk about this. Is it just kind of felt like in the first half, like at some points it felt like he was non-existent. Like we weren't even. It felt like he wasn't even playing. And I
Hmm.
say non-existent. I don't mean that's his fault. I mean like we're not. We. I was shocked that after the way that the second half went and the shots that he made in overtime last night or last afternoon, like I was just very surprised that it wasn't an emphasis to get him the ball more.
Yeah, what did he shoot actually? He went 2 for 9, but I feel
And
like
a
those
lot of
seven
those, a lot
shots
of
were
those misses, like some of it was the dribbles that you were talking about earlier, but a
mm.
lot of those, like when I look at his, box score field goal percentage tonight, I'm like, we didn't get him any good situations though.
No, yeah, we didn't. We didn't. And when he finally did get good positioning, what did we do? We waved him off.
Right.
So definitely needs to be a fix there. I don't know who to blame. Maybe there's nobody to blame. Maybe it's still just getting used to everything. But God, man, I don't know. Is it Pop's fault? Is it his teammates' fault?
Well, the other thing is, I mean, I don't really think we're doing much. I mean, did we
That's
really
true.
call that many plays tonight?
No.
Like that just ties it. Yeah, that just ties into kind of to what he said before the season. Um,
Mhm.
and this isn't an excuse, but this is just a fact. We actually did get younger from last year overall with our age, like our
Mhm.
average age. Not an excuse at all. It's like we saw the media day, but I mean, the symptoms of, or the, not the symptoms, well, no, it would be symptoms. Symptoms of a young team are being very inconsistent like this. I mean, think about it. We've
Mhm.
had wins and close games, and then we've had 40-point losses.
Yeah,
I mean, this was back to back. I mean, even though the Raptors game was different, it was kind of back to back similar, but the inconsistency definitely exposes and highlights our youth.
for sure. For sure.
Yeah. But it doesn't get any easier, Ethan. This is what'll be our last thing to wrap up because we got an ESPN game, national media. After we've been playing like this, I mean,
Mm.
I would be I'd be telling them this like, hey guys, if you play like that again, you're gonna get embarrassed on national TV this time,
Yep.
and it's in the Garden against the Knicks. So we got to come out completely different on Wednesday.
Good Lord. And we are struggling against good point guards in the pick and roll. That's all Jalen Brunson does is play in the pick and roll and isolate smaller guards. And Jeremy's not going to be able to keep up with his quickness.
Yeah.
It's going to be a rough one. Let's hope Wemby
Yeah.
goes crazy in the Garden.
Unless I think somebody in the comments earlier might have said Vassell might be back. I don't think that that's going to solve all of our problems, but I think that would
Helps.
definitely help a lot.
Helps.
And honestly, even when it comes to our switching on Jalen a little bit as well.
True.
But dude, when I just think about like Trey or Jeremy on Jalen Brunson and getting caught behind screens and
Mm.
leading to open threes. I'm already seeing it, man. And then on top of that, it's like if you don't have a cell play, then it's going to be Malachi.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my gosh, I love Malachi's potential. I had to remind myself when I was getting mad at him tonight that he's 20 years old, playing like his first like real season of rotation minutes in his seventh game. Um, but he's got a lot to learn on defense. Obviously, offensively, he's pretty solid already. But if he plays on Wednesday, that if he's starting and Devin's still out,
Yeah.
it's probably going to be another rough defensive performance. Oh,
And
and our
Emmanuel
man,
quickly.
yep, can't forget about him.
You know who else? What am I saying? There is a silver lining with the New York Knicks. Jude, you know what that is?
Okay.
We have to pray and plead to the basketball gods that Julius Randle takes 30 shots. Right now, he has the worst field goal percentage in the NBA.
We need a Wembanyama dominant performance over Julius.
Absolutely, we do. Oh, that's going to be a tough one too because we've been getting
He's gonna be
banged,
physical.
banged down low, and they have Mitchell
Mitchell Rob.
Robinson, Hartenstein, Randall is not a schlump on the boards, even though he's been shooting terribly. And who else? I feel like I'm missing somebody else that's been playing solid for them. Um, Whoever it is, those three
Well, they got
guys are
schooled
enough.
by a former Nick tonight, Obi Toppin.
His defense, no, his defense was really, really special tonight as well. Yeah.
This was a tough one, man. This was a tough one, Ethan. You got any final thoughts?
Don Barlow for game MVP, I think he had a couple nice plays there.
when he first came in, it was like everything changed, and then he got dunked on and swatted, and I cried.
Yeah, well, good luck. Good luck to the Spurs. Go Spurs, go! Don't let Josh Hart have 7 for 7 from 3-point land because we just we keep letting non-shooters just torch us from outside.
Dude, that was the other crazy thing. Like, when I was watching that Raptors game, and this will be the last thing before we end. When I was watching that Raptors game and Scotty and OG were hitting us, like, I was like, man, maybe this is just, like they're improving every year. They're becoming better shooters. And like, I went on Twitter afterwards, and like Raptors people were like, career shooting game for Scotty and OG. And I was like, nope, nope. They just sniped us. They just had a career performance against us, just like the Pacers tonight. Back-to-back days, career performances. In offensive categories for both teams.
Sorry, one more thing.
No, keep going.
Just quick apology to the Raptors fans who always show out for our live stream. So shout out to Toronto, big basketball fans. But they wanted to correct us, Jude. Apparently, OG Anunoby, I didn't know this, has been basically a 40% three-point shooter for several years now.
Okay.
So when I called him a non-shooter last game,
probably
I'm
more
sorry, I
Scotty.
was wrong. Scotty, yes, Scotty was a non-shooter. Apparently, he's also doing better this year than normal. But I'm sorry, the country of Canada.
There you go. It's funny because you texted me about that, and then I ended up seeing like one comment from a Raptors fan, and he was like, "Great analysis, guys. Y'all have a super young team, and
Thanks,
I hope
Toronto.
you guys do well. And we always appreciate you guys for our championship. And thank you for treating DeMar and Jakob well." And I was just like, "Well, there's somebody out there who got good vibes from us last night."
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Ethan, I'm just glad that my computer didn't I don't even know what to call it. It was like, I don't even know. I'm just glad that it went well tonight and I could actually see you while you were talking, because it was just like a freeze frame, and it was like half of my browser was in half, and I had like two, on your MacBook, if any of y'all have that, you have all the apps on the bottom. I had like 3 of those on my screen. Half of it was black. I mean, it was like when, your Xbox 360, when you got like the
red ring
of death. Like that was like that on my MacBook. Like I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to even continue, to do the stream tonight or Wednesday. It was kind of mirroring the Spurs, to be honest. It was a foretold of, hey, this is how the game ended tonight, and this is how it's going to look tomorrow. It's just going to be a mess.
Well, let's hope your computer stays healthy for Wednesday's game against.
It's healthy right now, so maybe this is a good sign. This might be an omen.
Please, Lord, have mercy.
That's all we can hang on to. We appreciate all you guys hanging out with us tonight. We'll be back for that national TV game, 9 o'clock this Wednesday, regardless. Thank y'all for all the love on the last video. That was at like, the last time I checked, it might be at more, but it was at like 1.3K. So shout out to all y'all, even in the losses, for showing out and hanging out with us tonight. Go Spurs, go. We're going to be here regardless, no matter what. So we'll keep seeing y'all. And if you like the content, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button below. If you want to stay updated with everything, be sure to follow us on Twitter at SSPN on YT, at Jude McLaren, and at Ethan_Quintero. We appreciate you guys. Hopefully, I'm just hoping that we can be competitive on Wednesday. Let's hope for that.
Likewise, Jude.